This is the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Commercial Driver's Manual, Publication 223. Commercial Driver's License Manual 2.6, Controlling Speed. We are going to focus on 2.6.1, Stopping Distance. We have our perception distance, plus our reactionary distance, plus the actual braking distance, and that's going to give us our total stopping distance. The first item we are going to look at is the perception distance. Now, what the perception distance is it is the time that your eye recognizes a hazard and transmits a signal to your brain to act upon it. This book here is giving 3/4 of a second for that transaction, so you will be moving forward, and that's the ground you're going to cover. So if you're going 15 miles an hour at 3/4 of a second, an average of 22 feet per second, you're looking at about 17 feet. And I'm pulling that from figure 2.11, but we'll get into that a little more. Reaction distance, again, it's the same time. This is where your brain will have your foot come off the accelerator and push the brake pad. And they're also allocating 3/4 of a second for that. These two items, the perception distance and the reactionary distance, again, will be the same for any vehicle, whether it's a small geo car or a 18-wheeler. This is basically you moving, and your vision, your brain signals, and all that are communicating to react to the environment around you. And then you finally press the brake pedal. Now you're in the braking distance. And that is going to depend on the size and weight of your vehicle, how good your brakes are, things along those lines. Now, this chart was drafted up for dry flat road conditions, or an ideal situation, possibly no grade, no bends or turns or anything along those lines. Add them all together, you have your total stopping distance. If you look at figure 2.11, though, we have different miles per hour. We have how far the rig will travel in 1 second at that rate of speed. But when you look at driver reaction distance, they only gave 3/4 of a second for reaction distance. They did not give you perception distance in here. So look at the reaction distance, and in my opinion, you should add that. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a engineer of any sort. I'm just going off of 2.6.1 versus the figure they put here, and I believe that they should have that footage under the driver reaction distance the same for also the perception distance. So add that to the end, in my opinion. Pennsylvania School Bus Driver's Manual. This is Unit C, Student Loading and Unloading, Loading Procedures, Approach and Check. The devil is in the details with this one. Number 1, approaching the designated stop, start slowing down in preparation for the stop. So the bus is reducing speed before the amber lights are engaged. Number 3, when the loading zone is between 150 to 300 feet away, a football field, activate the amber flashing lights of the school bus 8-way light system to warn other vehicles. Brake gradually with the transmission in gear while approaching the stop. The greater your approach speed, the greater the distance away you should activate your amber lights. But do not activate them more than 300 feet because the law says specifically not more than 300 feet. Number 4, check all mirrors to see if traffic is clear and if it is safe for you to stop. Then going down to the actual stop, come to a full stop. When stopped, set the parking brake or parking emergency brake. Place the transmission in neutral. Open the service door slightly. Activating the red flashing lights, the side stop arm, crossing arm, and automatically deactivating the amber flashing lights of the 8-way light system. And then on number 5, after the red lights are on and the stop arm is out, they then tell you to check traffic to assure all traffic is stopped and open the door completely only after traffic stops. So they have the bus coming to a stop, having to set the emergency brakes, put the transmission in neutral, then basically put the red lights on and pop the arm out, and then check to make sure they've stopped. Other states, CDL um, Chapter 10s have a different procedure. Well, they'll tell you to check to make sure the traffic is a safe distance before deploying the red lights and stop arm. This is Unit F, Safe Driving, for Pennsylvania's School Bus Driver's Manual. We'll be discussing the section stopping here. Stopping distance, the 3 components, just like the Pennsylvania Commercial Driver's License Manual showed, are perception distance, reaction distance, and braking distance. Scrolling down, and looking down here, they even add a brake leg distance for vehicles equipped with air brakes, and that'll give you your total stopping distance. So 4 components in this manual. Now scrolling down, as we discussed earlier, perception time is the time it takes your eye to see the hazard in the road and then recognize what you need to do to react. Your reaction distance, that's the time from your brain tells your body to pull the foot off the gas and go to the brake pedal. The brake leg distance, that is for a half-second delay to engage vehicles with air brakes. And give examples here at 55 miles an hour, the time it takes, and then you have your actual braking distance. So once the brakes are applied, how long it'll take that vehicle to come to rest. Scrolling down, this is a chart, or the example that they showed it added out. Perception distance 60 feet, reaction distance 60 feet, brake leg distance 32 feet, and then your total braking distance 170 feet for your total stopping distance of 322 feet. But when we pull up Pennsylvania's, just remember 322 feet, when we pull up Pennsylvania's Commercial Driver's License Manual right here, we see on a 55 mile an hour road with only the driver reaction distance at 61 feet, close enough, and your vehicle braking distance, we do not have the perception reaction, we do not have the half second for the brake leg. We get a total of 451 feet, not 322 feet. And again, the Commercial Driver's License Manual is more in line for heavy vehicles, large 18-wheeler trucks carrying, I believe it's 28,000 tons of weight. I think that's what they can get up to. But with the school bus, we're substantially shorter than that on the actual time to stop. And it even goes into say that by slowing down, you can greatly decrease the stopping distance of the school bus. So we'll slowing down first actually shorten that 322 feet. Greatly increase safety of pupil transportation, but what about all the other vehicles flying around on the road? Even in Unit C, it talks about slowing down. So if you slowing down before engaging your 150 to 300 feet of amber light notice. You put large trucks on the road that need an extra 100 feet to stop, you're going to have problems. And one other part was, scrolling back, for figure 2.11, one more. It's the effect of the vehicle weight on stopping distance. And it literally says that these brakes are designed for heavier truck, the heavier vehicle, brakes, tires, springs, shock absorbers. They're designed to work best with fully loaded, but empty trucks require greater stopping distances because an empty vehicle has less traction. Pennsylvania Driver's Manual, Publication 95. Chapter 3, Learning to Drive. We will be looking at the braking section. This reiterates that trucks and buses need a greater distance to stop. However, in this publication, they're showing that with good tires, properly adjusted brakes, clear dry roadways going 65 miles an hour, that vehicle will need about 600 feet to come to a complete stop. And in this parenthesis is the only place I could find passenger vehicle stoppage requirements, or what they allot for a passenger vehicle. And in Pennsylvania, in this little sentence here, they say they allot for 400 feet of stopping distance going 65 miles an hour. They don't have it broken up or anything like that, but if anybody can find a chart, or if you're an engineer and you've seen something floating around Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, please send it my way. To give you an idea what I'm looking for, Virginia Department of Transportation worked with a law. It's called VA 46.2-880. It's a law adopted in Virginia, just for Virginia. Look that up and you'll see the table I'm talking about. It'll show reactionary perception times, braking distances for both automobiles and heavy trucks. This is the conclusion for the Pennsylvania School Bus Stop Arm video. We covered Pennsylvania Law Title 75-3345, illegally passing a stopped school bus. This law showed us that the bus has to be stopped with its stop arm extended and red flashing lights for it to be a violation. You have to stop 10 feet from the bus. The bus has to give you an amber warning light greater than 150 feet, but not more than 300 feet before the stop. The fee, if you get hit with this by a police officer or bus driver, is $250. There's also a surcharge of $35 that goes to the School Bus Safety Grant Program account. We covered Title 75, 3345.1, School Bus Stop Arm Camera Enforcement. This allows a camera system to enforce Title 75, 3345, passing a stopped school bus. If you get hit with a citation on this, it is not to take points off your license or to notify your insurance. It is not to be used as surveillance. They're not supposed to identify the driver, the passenger, or any of the contents in the vehicle. And the information and data from this is for the exclusive use for the Department of the Police and not public record. The videos can be used for other violations in connection with a criminal law enforcement action. $300 fee if you get hit with it. $25 goes to the police that sign off on it. $25 goes to the school bus safety grant, and that money can be used to pay administrative costs, and schools have to file for it. And then the remainder, $250, goes to the school and possibly split amongst their vendors. Pennsylvania CDL Section 2.6.1, Figure 2-11, where we got into perception, reaction, and stopping distances. We also covered Pennsylvania School Bus Driver's Manual, Publication 117. Unit C-5, Loading Procedures, showed us the bus will engage in the amber light notice on the stop. Then they will proceed to put the red lights on, deploy their stop arm, and then check to make sure the area is safe of traffic, where some states will actually have you check for the area to be safe of traffic, then deploy the stop arm. We also covered Unit F-32 on stopping, and that was a little bit different than the CDL module, where it has perception, reaction, and then we're given a half-second lag time for the air brakes, and then the braking distance in themselves. And again, different weighted vehicles, but you can see the conflictions there when we compared it to the Pennsylvania CDL. And finally, we covered Pennsylvania Driver's Manual, Publication 95, Chapter 3, page 58 on braking, and that showed us that a passenger automobile needs 400 feet on a 55-mile-an-hour road. And again, this all gets back into how much warning is given before a bus is stopped. Hope you have a safe one.